All right. Good evening. We got a 419 Grind exclusive here with your man Clyde Green. Sponsored by the 419 Grind, Mud City Entertainment, Miss Donita Carter, the Social Butterfly, and Mr. Kendall Harvey with the ABLE program, A Better Life to Embrace. I know you guys been wondering who he was. We covered on the sponsor. We're going to get him on the show soon. Just want to give you a little heads up about that. Mr. Harvey, we appreciate your support, and we look forward to you coming on the show, being a guest and explaining your program to the public. I got my friend here, Mr. JR Majewski. He's going to be running for Congress for the 9th District, is that correct? I'm actually going to be running up against Marcy Chapter. We are going to get into that a little bit later, but me and him are going to chop it up a little bit, and it may get to a point where we accept some questions from the comments, but we're going to chop it up and see how it goes. I appreciate you tuning in and listening to us tonight. There may be different views of opinions. I do ask you, if you do make comments, let's be respectful of each other's opinions. This is my friend. We grew up together, graduated from high school together. I respect his opinions. He respects mine. So let's all be respectful and keep the negativity out of there. Okay? All right, let's get into it. JR, how you doing? I'm going to talk a little bit about me, and then we're going to get into us, and then we're going to get into some stuff. So, me, my background, originally I come up in the inner city. Up until the 8th grade, I went to all predominantly black schools, King, Stewart, LP Stewart, Robinson, then I went over to Jones. Jones was actually my first experience with a mixed culture of kids. My previous schools, we did have white kids or mixed race kids, but a lot of times they would be in like the special classes, or it was a special class there for them. So we didn't really interact too much with them. So my first real interaction was at Jones Junior High, and I got to learn the difference between black and white for real. Not so much of the things I've heard at home or just things I've seen on TV or anything I got to really experience. Even made a couple of white friends. And then going into high school, I moved to the north side, and that's where we met at Woodward. So getting used to some white friends in a different neighborhood, then moving to another neighborhood, now I got to get reintroduced to this mixed culture. But it was cool because I learned that on the north side, the white kids over there was pretty hood. You know what I'm saying? They pretty much was just white. You know what I'm saying? So, but that was cool. So, you know, like I say, me and you met up, football, 2-a-days, freshmen. We both gave that up our freshman year and just decided to be some cool, we just decided to be some cool fat dudes in school, what have you or not. And if I'm not mistaken, I do believe in 98 you graduated early, but you came back to walk with us?
Yeah.
Okay, and did you go to Bowser for aviation or?
No, I just had enough credits to graduate.
Right.
And I decided to go early because I was actually going to go into the military early.
Right.
But I ended up having surgery and I had to wait a year.
Right, but you still did make it into the military. So yeah, so pretty much we had pretty common backgrounds. I mean, for our culture and the stereotypes that we have, like you say, you come up from a middle class white family. Your dad worked at Jeep, but he got hurt, so he was on disability. So you was that had you kind of poverty stricken. And then me coming from a single mom, you know, the stereotypical black family, single mom, couple kids. Fortunately, my mom, you know, she took advantage of welfare. She didn't stay on it. She would go out and get a job. That's how I got my hustle. My dad taught me my hustle too, but the majority of me growing up, I was in a single parent home. So, like I said, we met. We had same opportunities and maybe different privileges, but we graduated 98. You went to the military. I tried college, ended up returning home and working a few little odd jobs. I worked at a call center, ran McDonald's, got in a little trouble, almost went to jail. You know what I'm saying? And then me and you hooked up back around 2013 because I got a couple certifications and you was doing good in your field and you wanted to hire me and I worked for you, right? Yeah. So let's go back just a little bit for when we graduated. Can you kind of adjust your mic a little bit? Do you need to move it up? The blue light's still on. Yeah. Is it muted? You got both my lights on. Can you hear us speaking to it?
Can you hear me?
No. Let me check somewhere. Excuse us. So, let me just let you check it out. Yeah.
It's muted.
Oh, it was muted.
I thought my beard was hitting it just like
All right.
No, for me, I went to Spring for elementary school, and then Leverett for junior high, and then Woodward. But growing up where I grew up, I mean, I had friends of every color. Man.
Yeah.
You know,
We hung tough on them there.
I mean,
Striker Mike.
Yeah.
All that up and down Park, Wilson Park, yeah. So let's kind of fast forward, like we graduated in 98. I kind of explained my path. So from 98 to back when we rekindled in 2013, what did you have going on for yourself?
So I went to the service, spent some time in the Middle East, a lot of time actually.
Yeah. Thank you for your service as
you're
well.
welcome, man. You're welcome. Okay. And spent some time in Japan. Okay. I've traveled all over the world.
Beautiful.
And earned my master's degree. Okay. And then I did that, you know, while working full time, right?
And what was that degree in?
My master's in leadership project, and well, it's a hybridized degree. It's leadership and project management. So that's kind of where I earned my stripes, right? In project management. So you know how I lead, right? So after the military, I remember taking my brother. Well, he was my brother-in-law at the time. Well, was one of my best friends, Billy. Right. I know you know who he is. Yeah. He was the guy from Bedford that played basketball. Okay. So I know you know him. Yeah. I ended up taking him to Department of Job and Family Services, right, to apply for a job. Okay. And the lady behind the counter noticed my haircut, and she said, "Hey, were you in the military?" And I made a joke. How can you tell? Yeah. I was only out of the service for like a week.
All right. Okay.
And I remember actually coming home. You remember the blackout in 2003 when all the power was out? Right. So I remember coming home that day, and when I got to my parents' house, nobody was home because they were checking on my grandfather. Okay. And it just freaked me out because, I mean, it was like doomsday or something, right? You know what I mean? So like a week later, I'm taking him to Job and Family Service to get his job, and this old lady, you know, older lady asked me if I was in the military, and she said Davis Bessie was hiring. And at first I was like, you know, I'm thinking about going to school a little bit more and this, that, and the other. And so, but they're paying like $20 an hour. Right. Well, okay.
And that was what, 2003?
Yeah.
Nice little change, right?
Yeah. So I jumped on it and put my application in, interviewed, and ended up starting at Davis Bessie 3 weeks after I was out of the service. Okay. And working at Davis Bessie, I started off in security and spent 3-4 years in security. And then when Davis Bessie replaced the reactor head, I was noticed by one of the leadership members. I think it was the vice president. He took a notice to me, and he asked me if I was interested in helping out that project. And I told him I had my degree, so on and so forth. And he liked the way I carried myself, and so I became the assistant project manager for the reactor head replacement. Okay. And then from there, I just progressively worked my way up. And then in 2013, well, in 2012, I was approached by a wealthy man in Florida who had some power plants that he was looking at, you know, doing some work at, and he contacted me to see if I was interested in running that side of his company. And, you know, based on the pay that he was offering and the fact that I could, you know, he was going to pay for me to move to Florida, and I was all about it. So I ended up taking that opportunity, and that's where, you know, I reached out to you. I was watching you on Facebook, watching you get your degrees, you know, your licenses, and going through your classes for, you know, crane operator. And I saw our paths, you know, coming in. And I knew that going into that position, I was going to need key people that I could trust. And I couldn't think of a better guy, right?
And it was, you know, we actually did keep in touch. And I think I got into the environmental field, and I saw you on Facebook the same way. You know, sharing pictures of your success sometimes really can't help.
Proud, right?
And I'm very proud of myself, and I know I'm proud of you as my friend, and I know you're proud of yourself. But I would see you. So I think I was laid off one time, and I reached out to you about some work, and I think it was around the time you was in Davis Bessie, just getting your feet wet and all that. And you said, "No, I ain't got nothing right now, but just in the near future. So I kept working, and you reached out to me, and then you offered me a great position, lead operator. You put me on with some dough. I made good money with you, like we talked before we turned the cameras on. I will not say, and you did not say it was the greatest career decision for both of us, but it was a hell of an experience. I had a great time. We both learned, and it helped us further our careers even more. And that's where we really started learning to talk about politics and our views and our different backgrounds and respecting each other's opinions, because you are one of my Caucasian friends that do understand the struggle. I will honestly say that about you. I've never felt like you were a racist. Like just like me, we questioned each other's views, and we spoke our opinions about it, and it was what it was, and we agreed on a lot of things as well.
Yeah, we agreed more than we disagreed, I think.
Exactly, so it actually works out well, and I appreciate you taking out the time and opportunity, hanging out with me, chopping it up, and I know it's likewise from you. Yeah. So we're gonna get into some trending topics right now, because there's a lot going on in the world, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna go and hit you with it. So how you feel about the verdict?
I trust the judicial system, man. I think that anybody who watched that arrest and watched that guy Chauvin put his knee on that guy on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes, if you didn't think that was police brutality, if you didn't think that was an excessive use of force, then I think you really need to do some soul searching.
Exactly, exactly. I also feel justice was served. Now we are waiting for sentencing. Yeah. I don't talk about this. I saw a comment on Facebook, somebody who disagreed with the verdict, and they say, well, George Floyd was committing a crime. He had asthma anyway. He was going to die anyway. Now, that's some effed up stuff to say. I'm going to keep it clean, but that's some effed up stuff to say. And there's people that feel like that about situations like this, more so your people than mine.
Sure.
So how do you feel about those people and on their views? And because apparently now they don't trust in the justice system that they preach so much about that we should trust in.
Well, I think you have to look at society as a whole, right? Right now, our leaders are putting us against each other on all levels of society, whether it's how much you earn, what color your skin is, or where you live. I mean, that right now is the stereotypical MO of our politicians, right? They're creating a divide, and the media is doing the same thing.
Absolutely, it's dangerous, ain't it?
Yeah, they are supposed to be our leaders. They're supposed to be bipartisan. They're supposed to be uniting us, and they're doing the exact opposite. And a lot of people are caught up in the hype right now, and they're not taking a deep breath and stepping back and thinking about things, right? I mean, just general human respect and human nature. I mean, police don't need to be killing people.
They don't.
But people don't need to be committing crimes.
Exactly.
It's a double-edged sword.
It's horrible.
But you have to trust in the judicial system. And I think what I'm hearing right now, a lot of people are upset with our politicians and our media creating a spectacle out of something that should be redeemed for the families, the family of George Floyd, and the public in the city of, or in the state of Minnesota, right? I think when they make it this mainstream hype show, it really gets a lot of people that come out of the woodwork that are far left or far right voicing their opinions, and they voice them the loudest, and that then becomes the general, it's believed to be the general consensus when it's not.
Right. And one thing, me and you working together, we did agree on. The only thing we really agreed on that's really matters is making it home to your family safe and making money to provide for your family. So the only real color that mattered that me and you agreed on was green, for real, right?
Right.
And we try to make as much money as we can.
Right.
And it's hard for a lot of people to block out the social media. So you get a verdict and we celebrating, and I hear the verdict, yes, justice, justice for George Floyd. And I get home and cut on the TV, and now this girl has been shot 4 times by an officer. Yeah. And now it's creating a big argument because she was committing a crime, like you just said.
Right.
What would you do if somebody was stabbing your family member, trying to stab your family member? What would you want the police officer to do?
Right.
Did he need to shoot her 4 times in her chest? Would he have shot her 4 times in the chest if she was a white girl? You know what I'm saying? See, now this is creating a whole nother hype, like you say. And how do we, as different cultures, deal with this to try to make this heal? Because it's hard.
First off, we have to eliminate the race issue. I mean, look, let's think about it when you're a kid. Did your parents tell you about the boogeyman when you were a kid?
Talking about a lot of scared shit.
Right. So, right.
Right.
But the boogeyman only exists until you open up the door.
Right.
Okay. And at a certain age, you open up that door and you realize that your mom and dad's been lying to you.
Right.
The boogeyman doesn't exist.
Right.
That's what's happening right now in a lot of forums, is that they're making this out to be something that it's not. It's hard to Monday morning quarterback someone that does a job like a police officer. It's very hard.
Yeah.
I mean, we all make mistakes at our job every day. Now that's not an excuse for those folks. They're supposed to be highly trained and competent individuals. Look, I did law enforcement in my past, and I've been in the military, so I know what it's like to carry a gun. I know what it's like to have that responsibility, to be responsible for that weapon.
Do you know the difference between a gun and a taser?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
but
all officers should. Right?
Well, they should. Yeah.
Is it a common mistake between officers?
I've never experienced that as a mistake. I mean, I could rationalize, given that I've been in high stress scenarios.
Okay.
And if my taser and my pistol was on my hip and I reached for one, I mean, putting out in front of my face would have been the telltale sign that
totally
this is a
different
taser.
color, right?
This is bright yellow, and it's not, matte black, or it's not, the color of chrome. It's not a weapon. It's not a gun.
Right.
Or it is a gun. Put it back. But, again, that's Monday morning quarterbacking someone. Look, she made a mistake. If she truly meant to use her taser and she used her pistol, then she needs to be brought to justice. I mean,
so we back depending on the justice system again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So well.
We have to reserve our faith and our confidence in the Justice Department. And if we don't, then what do we have? And if they rule unfairly, then there's processes for us as members of society to take them to task for it.
See, to me, looking at this situation, what's dangerous is it's creating a situation where, and it's not really nothing new, but it's just a heavy situation where now my people are arguing amongst each other, plus arguing with other people. I, for one, have never considered myself a racist, although I will be racist towards people who are racist to me.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't like me, I don't like you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But now this is creating, like, for us, it's almost like a three-way divide. And because it's certain black people that agree, like, look, if that was my daughter and somebody was throwing a knife at her, the police supposed to kill her. But then there's others like, no, how can you feel like that, the way the police treat us? And this, that, and third. So it's a real heavy situation right now.
I can say that my experience with the police in times that, I reflect back on. I mean, look, we met 2 weeks ago, and leaving the restaurant we were eating dinner at, the police followed us home.
All the way.
Right?
All the way.
Was I nervous?
Yeah.
Shit. I was like, hey, where can we turn? I mean, come on.
You forgot the cuts, man. You been here.
Well, I wouldn't, I'm not from the South End. That's where you're supposed to guide me, right? But,
my bad.
But look, anyone, I think, can sit back and say when the police pull up behind them, they get a little tickle on their neck.
I
regardless,
definitely do, and I'm all the way legit.
And I can't say that I know someone who would say anything different. And what we need to look at is how our police departments operate, and we need to get to the root of the problem. Right. And we need to cross out the opinions of national media and people who are highly and extremely wealthy that sit in front of a teleprompter every night and read us what their producers tell them to read. And we need to look at it from a communal basis. And right now, I think that police are they're using excessive force in extreme situations. But why are they doing that? That's what we got to get to the root of.
And see, this is the thing I want to say, because, and I'm gonna go back to I guess I would say basics. I don't know, but my mom taught me a lot of things. So I'm gonna say a lot of it can depend on parenting, because my mom always taught me I was a big fella. I was intimidating to the police. They have a job to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I have been in situations of being pulled over by the police. I've been pulled over by the police under the influence driving. I've been pulled over by the police with drugs on me. You know what I'm saying? And I've been let go. One time the police officer told me to follow him down to the station. But that's because I had to respect him. And my thing is, if I'm caught, I'm caught. I can't pitch a bitch, because this man's job at the end of the day is, if I don't cooperate, he could kill me.
Right. And
I think our younger generation don't understand that fear.
Right.
Because we have to understand that the cops are scared of us. I've been with police, I'm scared of shit, and this man is shaking talking to me.
Right.
He needs to put me in 3 handcuffs because I'm such a big guy. I can't get comfortable in this car. Come on, man, can you hit me to the front? No, because he's scared I'm gonna reach around, choke him, and break his neck.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it is difficult for us, but a lot of young people, and they don't be wanting to hear it, and I can respect that too. But the police do have a job to do, and you have to respect that, or the possibility may be you get killed,
right.
And then the police may not be right.
Or imagine a society without police.
I mean, true that too, you know. But like, they may not be right at the time, but you gotta calm down and deal with it. It's a process because it is a danger to our society that the police will kill you. I mean, it's a fact down there, for real. Let's just be honest, because they popping motherfuckers, you know, for real. So that's just one of the things that's going on, and I just appreciate your views on that, and even your understanding, and even, you know, trying to understand it from your view too, because like you said, the police got a job to do.
They do, but you know, we have to hold our police and all of our civil workers to a higher standard.
Now, who I feel we need to hold to a higher standard right now with all the different kind of things that's going on, and I don't know if you may agree or not, but I feel like right now we need to hold the All Lives Matter supporters accountable for a lot of things, because a lot of times when we come out and we scream Black Lives Matter, that's when you hear the opposition saying, well, all lives matter, all lives matter, but we just had a person in Indianapolis shoot up the FedEx, and I didn't hear no all lives matter people saying nothing. You know what I'm saying? So to me, when we say all lives don't matter till Black Lives Matter, that's kind of like credible, because don't nobody say nothing until we say Black Lives Matter. Now, how do you feel about that?
I'm aligned with you. I think the whole, you know, the All Lives Matter and the Black Lives Matter argument, I think both of them have, you know, unique platforms that they stand on. And I think when you look at the people that founded these organizations, they likely had very strong and true sentiments in their hearts. But I think when you talk about what we just talked about, which is money, money makes good people do bad things.
Absolutely.
And when you have, you know, you have all of these issues happening around the country, and you have the same folks showing up to the platforms, you have the same folks, you know, again, creating divide. And where are these leaders? Like you're saying, where's the All Lives Matter folks? Where's the Black Lives Matter?
I mean, now more than ever, they should be on the scene barking, right?
Exactly.
And where you at?
Right.
Where you at? I'm just saying. You know,
well, the event probably didn't pay enough money.
Maybe not.
That's probably it's likely. I mean, follow the money.
That's sad.
That's it.
And they use us as pawns and create this back and forth to make money.
And they create a divide between us. They want us to fight. They want us to argue, and they want us to debate to a point that we can't stand one another, because it solidifies what they're trying to do, which is make money off of our, you know, off of our debates and off of our stresses. And
now more than ever, we need to be together. I mean, with the, you know, COVID. How you feel about the vaccine? Did you get the vaccine?
No, I didn't get the vaccine.
Are you going to get the vaccine?
I might.
You might?
I might.
I'm
more worried about the science, right? I'm more worried about what can the vaccine do to me, because, you know, we watched a vaccine get pushed through in just an unprecedented timeline, and that makes me nervous. It has nothing to do with anything else but science. I just want to make sure. I mean, look, I took the anthrax shot in the service, and I didn't want to.
Okay.
And that left me with a pretty memorable experience.
Okay.
And I got sick off the anthrax shot, and I had to take it multiple times because it's like a 6-shot, you know, thing. And I told myself at that age, and I didn't even understand where I stood politically at that time. And my decision today still has nothing to do with it. And, you know, I'm more scared about what will that vaccine do to me, and what will it do to other people.
Absolutely.
And that's what keeps me away from it.
And I was almost leaning towards getting it, you know, with the platform I'm on now, you know, being around, you know, but it's so many yays and nays. I just figure I'd rather not mess with it until it's a certainty, because, you know, there's too many questions. You know, I'm cool right now. You know, if I get it, you know, God bless. Hopefully, I roll through it. But I think I'm gonna, you know, take my chances and not get it.
Sure. I mean, I live a healthy life. I mean, I'm chubby. I'm working on that, right? We all are.
We had our mask on when we came in. You
exactly.
know, took your temperature, all that. So it's good.
You took that little laser that you guys bought, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not looking at this as a, you know, the vaccine is more of a personal thing.
Right.
And, you know, I know people. I have friends. A good friend of mine, she actually just took it last week.
Absolutely.
And she's sick. And she took it because she takes care of her mother. And she's worried about her mother's health.
And do you feel she was sick because of the vaccine?
She says she's sick because of the vaccine. Okay. Now, it may not be life-threatening, but she's still a little ill, right? But I don't, I don't voice my opinion to her on how I feel. If she asks, I'll give my opinion, but I'm not gonna, say, hey, you shouldn't take that vaccine. I mean, that's another thing that's become part of national debate because, again, it puts us at odds.
Yeah, see, you have people saying, well, I don't want to be around them because they didn't get the shot. You know what I'm saying? Or you can't come in because it's already going on with the mask.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People are getting beat up and killed over not wearing their mask, getting drugged out of stores. I just feel like it's another hype.
It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, and
especially when the masks that they're. I mean, look, you worked in the environmental field.
Absolutely.
You know all about wearing PPE.
Man, I've been hooked up to machines that blow air into my suit where if I take it off, I could die. And now they tell me this little mask is going to protect me from the most deadliest virus in the world.
Little mask that's made out of the same material that your wife makes your underwear made out of.
Right, then you don't even know. It's complaints about the mask. Some of the masks don't work. They made from China in a dirty factory and it ain't no protect. So how do you? What do you do?
Well, then you have these kids too that their parents can't afford to buy all these masks, and they're putting their kid in the same mask every day, and then they're getting staph infections on their face.
Man, there's people wearing masks. I saw a dude come out of AutoZone. He looked like he just dropped a motor with his mask on. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what is it doing?
Now you're breathing motor oil, which is probably way worse than,
I mean, I wear my mask because I don't want no trouble. You know what I'm saying? I try to abide by the regulations, but it's kind of.
I believe in personal choice, though. I mean, when it comes down to it, the government's job should be to say, hey, JR, Clyde, this is this virus that's going around. Here's the protocols that you can take to avoid it, which is common sense, keeping yourself clean, right? But they should let you make the decision on whether or not you want to wear the mask.
Absolutely.
And other people you should be able to say, hey, look, I have COVID or I don't have COVID. You wear a mask, don't wear. I mean, if
I'll wear it, because hey,
I wear it out of respect for other people, right? And I don't want to get dragged out of Walmart.
Right, exactly. I don't want nobody looking at me all crazy. All right. So now, let's go and get a little bit juicy because you are a Trump supporter. Is that correct? You are a Trump supporter.
Yeah, I like President Trump.
You painted your yard the Trump flag.
I sure did.
You was disappointed when he lost.
I was disappointed when he lost.
You was in your feelings. Yeah, it's okay, because that was your candidate. I'm not going to say he wasn't my candidate. I'll be honest, I didn't vote this election working on the road. I'm sorry, people, I didn't. But, I have political views.
Yeah.
But I understand you was a heavy Trump supporter. You were there when the riots broke out.
I was.
Can we talk about that?
Sure.
Okay. So now, and we talked about this in previous conversations, so it's easy for us. So first off, how was the atmosphere there with all the Trump supporters there? Do you feel like there were certain supporters that came in peace and certain supporters that came to tear shit up?
Yeah, I think it graduated to that, right? I think when we came to watch the president's speech, it was a happy atmosphere. There were people selling T-shirts, food. Everybody was just talking. It was not a hostile atmosphere whatsoever.
Okay.
But when everybody started going to the Capitol building, when we got to the Capitol building, that's when it was clear that there were some people there that were there to start trouble.
Okay. And now, when the people started heading toward the Capitol building, this was after the speech?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, Trump's speech. Do you feel that Trump's speech ignited a flame in these people to go riot, or do you think it was the people's own gangster instincts to go tear up the Capitol?
I think it was a little bit of both.
Okay.
And that's a little bit of a change in an answer after
exactly,
you and I spoke.
You just, I was gonna say,
but I'm gonna fill in the gaps here,
right.
because one, I have to parallel with what's going on right now.
Exactly.
Okay? I, as a man, and I would hope that everybody else as Americans, male or female, there's not one person in the world that can tell me to go do something and I'm gonna do it. In fact, I'm quite the obvious,
right?
The opposite, okay. Right? And I know you are too, right?
You're telling me what to do.
Yeah, don't tell me what to do, right? But that's what being an American is about.
For sure.
Now, when President Trump said, all the things he said, it didn't ring in my brain, and I'm one of the biggest Trump supporters you meet last year. It didn't ring in my brain to go beat up Nancy Pelosi and drag her out of the office and, do whatever else that some of these people were saying. That didn't echo in my mind. What echoed in my mind, and what I still hold today, was when he said, march peacefully to the Capitol building, and protest, or whatever it was he said. But nothing in there was like a call to violence. And if it was, I think personally, I would have had a problem with that because he's the president of the United States. If he can't have an impact and an influence on Congress, what is old JR going to do? I mean, granted, there was 4 million people there, but no one that was with me thought we were going to go to the Capitol building and see what we saw.
So you did indeed march toward the Capitol?
Yeah, we all walked towards the Capitol.
Y'all was marching, no more Trump, no Biden, whatever y'all was saying.
We weren't screaming, we were just talking. But there was a lot of people screaming, you know, Trump.
And then you get to the Capitol and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
Now, I guess the first question, because when, you know, and it's obvious, we spoke of it, when the Black Lives Matter protests, you couldn't even get near the steps. So, and I asked you this question because, you know, conspiracy theorists have said things happen to make things happen.
Right.
So, could you believe that this possibly could be a conspiracy theory that was set up to just cause havoc in the country, or do you believe that the people on the Capitol thought it was going to be a real lax situation, and they was really, they was just slipping on their security and didn't expect that was going to happen like that?
Look, I think, so there's my opinion, and then there's what's plausible, right?
Okay.
In my opinion, I think that the predominant groups of people that were there did not want to have any violence. Okay. You know, I raised a lot of money and took a lot of people there. I took people that, you know, were wounded veterans. I took grandmothers and grandfathers with me.
Did you take Mexican people with you?
Yeah.
And you take black people with you?
Took a black dude.
I just wanted to put that in the air that you
yeah.
did that. Okay.
And
were they Trump supporters, or they were just going to see what was going on?
They were Trump supporters.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of them just became a Trump supporter. And my buddy LaShawn, he's from Chicago.
Okay.
And you know, we all went there thinking that this was going to be peaceful. We didn't think it was. We thought we were protesting, you know, in support of the president.
Okay.
And when everything broke out, there were some people there that, being military minded and being from the neighborhood I'm from,
right.
You see people and you're like, yeah, that dude don't look all right. You know what I mean? Right. And so I was there responsible for these people.
Okay.
And like I said, a lot of them were my grandparents' age and my parents' age. And I knew if something happened crazy that they wouldn't be able to defend themselves. So I took a position of, you know, looking out for them and guarding them, you know what I mean? And, you know, when...
You said you had to take shelter with a couple of them, right?
Oh, yeah. We had a lady that broke her, had a distal fracture from falling, and another lady dislocated her knee.
Wow, how long did you have to wait for her to get help?
We had to carry her out of there.
Wow.
And it took, what would normally take probably 5 minutes of a walk, took over 2 hours. Because of the amount of people there. And the fact that the Capitol Police weren't letting us leave. There was a fenced-in area, just a plastic wind fence, and when we approached the fence, they wouldn't let us go out. They
wouldn't let y'all go out, but they let protesters go in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those things, to me, I mean, I saw it with my own eyes. I didn't read it on the internet.
I saw some of your footage that you had.
I didn't read it on the internet. And, you know, there were some people there that were definitely hyping people up. And when you get into a big crowd like that, you get what's called herd mentality, because one good idea sounds great. You don't have time to, you don't critically think about it. Another person, you know, gets hyped up. They start saying the same thing. I mean, that's how mobs start. That's how these things start. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm a law-abiding individual. I don't prescribe to any of that stuff that happened. But there were thoughts in my mind like, man, these guys are going to run in the Capitol. What if my friends go? What if these people go? What am I going to do? Right. You know, and you know, I quickly, you know, wiped it from my mind. And again, the guy that died of a heart attack died very, very close to me. Wow. And you know, I made sure all those people got out of there safe. Now,
let me ask you this, because Trump took a lot of slack for this, and a lot of people blame him for that. And I even felt the kind of way about it with the speech, just seeing what happened through the media, not being there with my actual own eyes to see it for myself. And we know the media can portray you to sway you a certain kind of way with subliminals and all that. So, and I asked you this before as well, do you feel like President Trump let you down as a president, as the people blamed him for causing those riots? As a supporter of him, do you feel like he let you down a little bit? Or do you think he could have handled the situation a little better so that it wouldn't have got out of hand?
Hindsight's 20/20. Right. It's hard for me to say that, you know, he let me down, because when I look at it, when I look back, I'm not sure what could have been done different. I think that if those riots would have happened, there would have been something in his speech that would have been called out by the people that wanted to push the fact that, you know, he endorsed this violence.
Right.
So for me to say that disappoints me is I'm not disappointed in him. I'm disappointed in the fact that people that were supposed to be peaceful protesters and real Americans actually took that step and actually, you know, broke into the Capitol. But I think that in itself, I think we need to blame ourselves as Americans, not blame one individual. But President Trump's a grown man. I mean, he has to wear that on his sleeve and carry that on his shoulders. That's for him to you know, to defend. Yeah. But I truly think that if we let ourselves get into the mindset that one person, you know, says something that can influence us to the fact that we're willing to hurt another person, that's when we have a problem as individuals. Right. Not as, but that's what's happening right now. Yeah, it's happening on both sides.
Both sides of the ball. So there's talks of him running again in, what is it, 2024? Yeah. Are you going to support him if he runs?
Yeah, I don't see why I wouldn't support him at this point. I mean,
you think you got a chance?
I think that man always has a chance, just because of, look, if you look back on President Trump, everybody loved Trump back in the 90s. I mean, we all looked at him like, this dude just does whatever he wants.
Right.
And we all looked at that like, if I had President Trump, or if I had Donald Trump money, I would do the same thing. Right. And then when he became president, there was a lot of stuff said about him that, you know, turned out to be some slightly true, and some was just totally false. I mean, some things are just coming out now that you know, proved to be false. What I liked about President Trump is I always knew what he was doing. People don't like the fact that he was tweeting, but look, if he was doing something wrong, I could see it. Right. And I didn't support blindly everything President Trump said and did. I mean, there's a lot of points where I thought he was wrong. Right.
Me as well.
That's my opinion.
I didn't get to vote, like I said, that was my bad. But at the time, and this was just my view, I had a lot of go back and forth about it. At the time, I felt Trump was the man for the job. Yeah. I didn't feel Hillary was right for the job. Democrats been selling us dreams for years. A lot of people know it. I talk to a lot of black people that are Republican, and they don't speak on it because of the flack that they get from our community. I'm not per se Republican. I do agree with some of the views at times. I felt at the time that, and this is just my real opinion, I just felt like Hillary Clinton was a scoring white woman and we don't want her running the country. I feel at the time the country embarrassed her with what happened with her husband. And I just feel like, you know, that would have caused a problem. And then, you know, Middle Eastern countries don't respect women, and it's been hot and heavy. So if I would have voted, I would have went that way. Like I said, I don't agree with a lot of things Trump did. I don't necessarily feel like he's a racist because he's made a lot of money with black people. I think he could be a lot more respectful to our culture. Sure. You understand what I'm saying? But a lot of people, we couldn't expect nothing less from Trump. Like you said, he was arrogant. All I've known of Trump being arrogant. Right. Grab you by the balls type of dude. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know. You know, if he was, I don't know.
It's a toss-up. I mean,
it's a toss-up. But you just got to weigh the views.
But again, we've moved so far in 5 years away from the fact that two people can sit in a room and say, I support Trump, I kind of support him, or I do and I don't. That's what makes us Americans. We have to have that discourse. We have to be able to talk. And there's groups in this country of extremely extreme wealth and extreme influence that are trying to set us in polar opposite directions. We got to get back to being Americans before we're white or black or Mexican or Asian. That's where we got to be. Because
truthfully, I believe a lot of our entertainers persuade us to go Democrat and support Democrat. But realistically, looking at the political views and values, it's more in their best interest to be Republicans. Sure. You know what I'm saying? So are they putting on the front for us? Like, you know, it's heavy. That's how my mind works. I ain't saying it's the right way. That's how my mind works. That's how I think. It's just all about opinions.
It's driven by the money. It's all driven by the money. Right? Look, I didn't wake up and become, I didn't wake up and become a Republican. I found where I stood politically by paying attention. You know, when I was at Davis-Besse, I was in the union, and I negotiated a contract because my bachelor's degree, my minor is in labor relations. And the union president said, hey, you're a bright guy. Can you help us with this collective bargaining agreement? I said, sure. And one of the outputs of us negotiating is a group that worked at the Bayshore power plant, they got their first raise in like 15 years.
Wow.
Right? And shortly thereafter, I got promoted.
Okay.
All my union brothers and sisters said, "Oh, this is a company guy. The company stole him," right? And they were mad at me.
Right.
Now they loved me when I got them their pay raise, but when I got promoted, they didn't like me. And it took a good couple of months for them to realize that I got promoted. I'm making something of myself.
Right.
Those are my aspirations. I've never made it a secret that I wanted to get into a leadership position. Because
now you making me feel bad about it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they came, full circle, and they realized. But the key takeaway for me was they wanted me to be miserable just like them, because every one of them would have took that pay increase. Every one of them would have took that promotion.
Right.
Had they earned it, they would have took it.
Exactly.
But when I got it, because I was very young, much younger than them, they looked at it as I did something nefarious to get that promotion. When in reality, I raised my hand and volunteered.
Exactly.
And
you were successful.
That's the crime, right?
Right. And we talked about that as well. The different opportunities compared to privilege.
Sure.
Because I can say, in some instances, that I feel like I was missed out on opportunities. Not that I didn't have the opportunity, but I didn't have the privilege.
Sure.
And when we spoke about that, you argued that, and which was a very valid argument, actually checked me. You argue why you didn't fit into that category because of a lot of the positions that you were up against or that you fought for, no one like me was going for them. So you didn't feel the privilege, but you do understand that there is a difference between opportunity and privilege going on.
Definitely.
In our
I understand
society.
it now.
Right.
I didn't understand it as a kid because I looked at you as a child growing up together.
Right.
I'm like, we can both go for the football team.
Right.
You know what I mean? We can both go do this.
Right.
You can come work for me.
Right.
But the things that I've gained in life, there wasn't an opportunity to introduce privilege per se.
Right.
In those specific scenarios. I mean, everyone could go to the military
Right.
if you pass the physical and the intellectual requirements.
And I even told you, I wish I would have went, even if I went just for the benefit.
Look, if I didn't go to the military, I don't know where I would be today.
Right.
The military is what changed my life.
Okay.
I mean, my dad, when my dad finally got his case was closed for his medical conditions from being hurt at Chrysler, first thing he did was sold his house in the North End and moved to Port Clinton.
Wow.
And he gave me 3 months. He told me, you can come. He didn't want me out there. I was 18. He wanted me to go to the military or go to college or get a job. And I had 3 months to do that.
Wow.
And that's why I got out of school early. I was kicking it in high gear.
I think in that day, all our backs was up against the wall getting out of high school at 9
My dad's from the North End too.
Exactly.
I mean, he's a hard knocks guy.
Yeah.
And he gave me an ultimatum. And you can bet when 3 months came up, I thought I still had a pillow to lay my head on, and I didn't. I remember coming home from Greg Block's house. Right. Me and Greg and Kenny and a bunch of other guys, we went out the night before, and my typical regiment I would come to Toledo on the weekends and hang out, and then during the week I would go to Port Clinton and I would work. And I was working for a construction company. And my dad told me on Friday when I was getting ready to come to Toledo, he's like, 3 months is up on Monday. And I'm like, whatever. I didn't even, I'm just blowing my dad off. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just making sure my mom washed my Tommy Hilfiger jeans back then, And I remember coming home on Sunday and I had a basket of clothes on the front porch. And it was far from the clothes that I actually bought because I had been working. And in that basket of clothes was a note from my dad, basically telling me, I'm gone. Grow up.
Exactly.
He gave me a warning. And that's when, I went back to the recruiter and tried to expedite, getting into basic training.
Wow.
And I ended up going and passing the physical again. And, they put me, I was on one of the first buses back out.
Wow.
And had I not done that, I'd be doing what everybody else is doing. I didn't have a future, man. It wasn't, nobody paid for, I'm paying for my college right now.
Right.
Nobody paid for nothing for me. And that's what people don't realize. I went out and chased everything that I have. But in doing so, I made sure that I remembered where I was from.
Right.
Like when I became, an influential leader in a company, what did I do? Reached out to my friends. Hey, what are you guys up to? You guys need a job? I'll give you a shot.
You paid us well too.
I make sure I pay you. I mean, there wasn't a job back then that you could go to making the kind of money that I offered. And that wasn't because, I had this, there was nothing in it for me other than
Us hanging out
leveraging
again.
your talents.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't look at it like, oh, I can have my friend there and we can smile and crack jokes, and I mean, because that's what we did. We gotta have a special just about you, man.
Oh my God, don't do that. Don't do that to me.
But I didn't look at it like I could just have because if I just had me and you and we're just sitting on the, just joking all day, we get no work done. I looked at it like, all right, here's the value. The dude knows how to do work. He's a professional. He comes from where I'm from. He has the same values, the same principles, the same ethics. And I can trust this guy because I've had multiple experiences in my life with this man where I know he's going to hold true to me. I know I can trust him, and I know he has loyalty. That's what drove me to bringing you on, and that's what drove me to bringing the others on. Now, a few of the other folks, like we talked about, they didn't have the skill sets that you had, but their paycheck reflected that.
And they still did good work, you know what I'm saying? And what it also taught me, in a certain field, it's a separation between friendship and business.
We had to learn that together.
We had to learn that. We was bumping heads. We bumped heads.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, one day you was pissed. I'm like, man, you gone. You know what I'm saying? For real.
But I never got out of my role, though.
Me neither. We tightened up. We got the job done.
Yeah.
And that was a goal. Despite the differences, we went home safe every day.
We were like the bad news bears, man.
Crazy.
Nobody thought we could do it.
Nobody thought we could do it. They was giving up on it. They was looking at the watch on
when you guys gonna quit?
You can't do that. If you don't do it this way, y'all getting out of here.
And for people that don't know, what we did was we retired one of the first fossil fuel coal-fired plants on the Ohio River.
Right.
We retired the first unit in that power plant, and that was a big deal for that utility because that was one of their first power plants that was being retired, and we had to competitively bid that job. It wasn't given to us.
And those workers in there, they gave us some looks.
Oh yeah.
They asked for pieces.
They liked us at the end, though.
Yeah, they did, and it was a good thing. This is good, man.
Yeah.
This is getting real juicy. We're gonna 5 minutes. Okay, we got 5 minutes. We're gonna go to a break in about 5 minutes. But that was the Beckett power plant down there.
Yeah, Beckett Power Station.
Yeah, those guys were looking at us tough. They asked for some of the pieces of it. What they call it, old Betsy or something?
It was the new Beckett Power.
No, I'm talking about the generator that the first one we started tearing down.
Oh, they had a nickname.
Yeah, because it was like the one guy told me. He said I was here when they put this in.
Yeah.
They would come down and watch us do that work, and it got crucial. Bill down there in that condenser, he was going.
And I even brought, Jake. Jake was.
Rest in peace, Jake. He was
a good guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, yes, he was.
Jake. So when I started out at Davis Bessie and got promoted into management, I was consistently in jobs where people were way older than me.
Right.
And when I would walk in the room and they'd be like, "Oh man, this kid's my boss."
Right.
And I would have to work with them to win their trust. You know what I mean? Look, guys, my job isn't to tell you what to do every minute of the day. Right. My job is to keep people out of your way so you can do the job that you're paid to do.
Absolutely.
And support you when you need things. You don't know how many people that I've taught how to use an iPhone or how to, you know what I mean? Or
just got one.
Use a computer.
Don't know what's going on with it.
Yeah, nobody does anymore. Back then it was a little bit easier, right?
Yeah.
But there's been numerous opportunities in my life there to work with people that were much older than me.
Right.
And I learned from them because I shut my mouth and I opened my ears. And Jake was one of those guys. I mean, Jake was one of the smartest mechanics, and he was actually a certified engineer, but
didn't he make something for one of the plants? Didn't he get an award for making?
Yeah, he made a couple different things for their diesel generators at the power plants. And despite the fact that he was a certified engineer, he never wanted to be in management. Right. He always wanted to be the mechanic.
Yeah.
And in order to retain his talent, the utility put him into a unique position, which then fostered other positions just like it, where you weren't necessarily a supervisor, but you also weren't, just a general mechanic. Right. And it really changed the culture at the power plants. And when Jake took a liking to me, I just knew like I could learn so much from this guy. Right. And I just, I
learned a lot from him as well. Like I said, that was a great experience.
He was a grumpy old white dude.
Wasn't he? But he got us there. He straightened us up. Yeah. He made some good hard workers out of it. I appreciate the chance to even be able to work with him and get to know him. He was a good guy. He scared me driving to work in the morning. That's why I started driving myself. But this is getting real good. We ready for break? So we're gonna when we come back from break, we're gonna get in to what you got going on, which is you're trying to run for Congress, the 9th District of Ohio. Is that correct?
Yep.
What's the nickname you give it? The handlebar or the snake or something?
They call it the snake on the lake.
The snake on the lake.
Yeah.
And you're going for a pretty big seat.
That's
it's
right.
Marcy Capture.
Yeah.
And I got a lot to talk about.
All right.
With you about that, because that's a big thing. My mom, rest in peace, is gone, but she was a Marcy Capture fan, ride or die.
So was my grandmother.
Yeah, and you a new booty coming in here trying to take that spot, so you know you got a lot of against you, so it's going to be a good conversation. So I want to give a shout out to our sponsors real quick, the 419 Grind, Mud City Entertainment, Miss Donetta Carter, the Social Butterfly, and Mr. Kendall Harvey Sr. of the ABLE Project, A Better Life to Embrace. We appreciate your support. We appreciate time here with JR Majewski, getting to know the candidate. I guess I'll put it out there. If there's any other candidates that want to get to be known, send us an email at info@419grind.com. We can set something up and have another exclusive. And maybe you come on here and chat with me and JR, because we're going to do a lot of talking and some big things maybe happening. So, we good, producer? Or yeah. So, well, let's just go and get into it. Tell us go to break. So you're running for the Marcy Capture seat. Oh, go to break. We'll be right back. Right. We gotta get you a sign. I gotta. All right, welcome back to Getting to Know the Candidate, sponsored by 419 Grind, Mud City Entertainment, Ms. Donetta Carter, Social Butterfly, and Mr. Kendall Harvey. And our candidate this evening is Mr. JR Majewski, running for the Congress 9th seat, Marcy Capture seat. My producer just let me know our time is getting short. JR has agreed to come back next week so we can continue the conversation. I'm going to get into just a little bit of what we'll have next week, what I want to talk about with you. Next week, and running, like I said, running for Marcy Capture seat. That's a big seat, so I want to talk about what we can expect, how you plan to be different from, what has it been, 40 years of Marcy Capture? So
38.
38 years? Okay, so I want to know what are you going to bring to change that? How are you going to convince my community that you're the best candidate for the position? Your goals and expectations with the election and your candidacy and your campaign. We're going to get into party titles and labels.
Sure.
And the traditional values of Republican to the modern day values, and likewise with Democrats. And we laughed about this, the hecklers and the old heads. Because, you know, we young, and you know, on both sides of the ball, we get it from the OGs and the old heads and the older people that tell you ain't ready or want to criticize you. So I want to talk a little bit about that because I know you're getting it. I get it on my end, so I know you're getting it on your end. So I want to definitely get into that. And next week we'll probably be able to take some questions. It's been great tonight, man. I had a great time chopping up with you. I appreciate you as my friend doing this with me. I look forward to future endeavors. I thank everybody tuning into the 419 Grind tonight. Look forward to more exclusives and more big things coming from this #1 internet podcast network. I appreciate you. Like and share this. And until next time, we out of here.
Good show, man. Thanks, man.
I'm learning, Jess.
We had too much fun, man.
Man, like we was going in and